Okay, this video I'm focusing on strategies I recommend for you to improve your grades. So I hope everybody's watching this video because even if you're doing great, you certainly can do some of these things I think to improve and get even better. But particularly if you're struggling, I really hope you'll take some of these suggestions to heart and use them. So the first thing I want to mention to you, just to remind you if you've heard of this before, is the highly recommended optional supplement right here on the front page. Called Examples and Explanations, written by Joseph Lannon. I'm not related to him. I get no money from him. So I'm plugging this with all honesty. This book is invaluable for learning civil procedure. With no exception, every student who's done really well in the course has used this book. And most of them credited this book, which, sometimes it hurts my feelings. Like, did I do nothing? But really, this book has been incredibly useful for students. I used it myself when I was in law school. And of every supplement I took a look at in law school, this one was the absolute best. And even better than other things in this series. Examples and Explanations, I bought the book for other courses too, wasn't as good. The one for civil procedure is fabulous. It's very clear in the way it explains and helps you review material. And it gives you lots of hypotheticals to work through with answers. But I really think the best way for you to use it is to work through, try to come up with an answer on your own before you read the sample answer, because that really helps you test yourself and make sure you understand the governing law, which allows you then to create a more useful outline for yourself that allows you to make sure that you aren't missing important points in future questions. So whenever you don't get all the elements of a question correct, you can go back, look at the examples and explanations, and adjust your outline accordingly. So that's why in Isidore I'm actually telling you which pages of examples and explanations to read when, is because I really recommend this resource. It's incredibly useful, and my TAs all used it. Everyone who's done well in this course has used this book. So that's my sales pitch for Examples and Explanations, the number one thing I recommend that you do to improve your civil procedure performance. Second thing I want to encourage you to do is take advantage of all the folks who are willing to meet with you to talk about the course. We have 3 teaching assistants. They have been giving you feedback on your quizzes. You can tell here on the page which particular quizzes they've graded. So if you have questions specifically about what they've told you in particular quizzes, this lets you know which person to contact. But all 3 of them are available for you to talk to from a student perspective, their strategies, how they succeeded. They all did quite well in the course, and they, are really excited to talk with you and share their experiences. They certainly remember what it's like to be a first semester law student. And are really willing to help with that. So you can use these links to figure out where they're available and schedule an appointment with them whenever you'd like. And of course, I'm also available to meet with you. I have office hours here as well that you can use your Google Calendar to click through and find a time when I'm available to meet. So they're definitely around there's definitely resources to talk about your confusion about particular areas of CivPro. Another set of resources that you should have heard about by now, but I also want to reiterate, is our academic support resources. So right here on the resources page, I've told you about our Academic Excellence Program, our Academic Success Program, both of which are run by Professor Stacy Rucker, Academic Success Director. She's wonderful. Her programs are wonderful, and they've really helped a lot of students really think through how to study smarter in law school. So it really helps your efficiency in terms of tackling the problems correctly and really understanding what law school is trying to accomplish. Because that's part of the struggle, is really figuring out how you do this analysis, how you have enough facts in your answer that your answer is supported. Those are the types of strategies they'll talk with you in this setting, and there's lots of opportunities to do sample problems and get feedback on them and in a collaborative way. And so I really recommend that you take advantage of that. It's for all students, not for a particular category of students. Everybody can take advantage of that. I'm, of course, particularly concerned that those of you whose quiz scores have put you sort of at the bottom of the class, I'm most concerned that you take advantage of this. But it's there for everyone. There's no stigma. We really want you to use this resource. It's really great. I'll tell you, in law school, I worked with an academic success program. The very best student in the class behind me was like my most diligent and regular participant in my study sessions that I led. It was kind of silly because he didn't need me; he was smarter than me. But be shameless. Take advantage of every resource you have. I mean, you're spending a lot of money to be here. You might as well take advantage of every resource we have to offer you. So I really recommend that program as well. And then generally, I just recommend that you take seriously where you're at right now in the course. There's obviously lots of room for change and improvement, but this is the reason I give you this feedback early is so you can self-assess, figure out where you are and where you want to be and how to bridge that gap. It's really important now to start the process of outlining, which I think sometimes students think is this foreign fancy thing that the only law people do and you don't know how to do yet. But really, outlining is just a way of structuring and helping you memorialize and solidify your understanding. So before pleading gets to be too much of a distant memory for you, make sure you have written down in a way that you can easily digest and refresh your memory. What are the standards for pleading? What's required for formal sufficiency? What's required for substantive sufficiency? And have a document that you can use whenever you see a complaint in the future, so you automatically know what questions to ask, what are the relevant considerations as you apply those legal standards. I also recommend that you use your intrasession well. Go ahead and tell your family and friends now that it's not a break, it's a working week. And use that intrasession to do your outlining, to use examples and explanations, target particular areas that you're confused with, because really the material in the course is only going to get harder. And the workload you're going to have from your other courses is only going to get heavier as we get toward the end of the semester. You will not have time at the end to learn this material. You need to learn it now. Do yourself a favor, sort of be nice to future self by getting a great outline, a great set of notes, so that when you do sit down and study for the final exam, everything you need is already there, already well organized, and you're just reviewing rather than learning at that point. This video explains law school policies relating to grades. And you really only need to watch this video is if you think you're in danger of having an average in the bottom half of the class. This is something that I'd like you to watch if you're in that situation. If you think you're not in danger of being there, you don't really have to worry about this video. But I'm going to show you our policy manual. Here's the law school's main website. If you go to the registrar's office here, you then can access the policy manual for the law school and download a copy of it. If you scroll to page 18, you can start seeing things that are related to grades, academic dismissal, and academic probation. The first thing you should know is this is how we convert letter grades into numeric grades. So depending on where your letter grade is, you can figure out where numerically you are. Now, of course, civil procedure is not your only course. Obviously, all your courses are going to be averaged together. So if you're low in Civ Pro, you may be pulled up by other things. This is going to be your average at the end of the semester, will be your GPA. And we use the GPA to determine two things, academic dismissal and academic probation. Dismissal, excuse me, oh, goodness gracious, I'm having trouble finding it here. Let's talk about academic probation since I see it right here. If you are below a 2.2, you are on academic probation. And the terms of that are there's some restrictions placed on what you can do at the School of Law, because we're concerned about you at that point. You'll be enrolled in a particular course, and there'll be some restrictions placed on the types of outside employment you can have, whether you can be an elected officer in a student group, because we really are concerned about you. We want you to focus just on academics. So keep in mind that Civ Pro added in with everything else, we have to have the 2.2 average. Academic dismissal occurs if you are at a 1.8 or lower. So just keep that in mind, that you will be dismissed from the School of Law if that is your cumulative GPA at the end of your first semester. And so just keep that in mind, and also keep in mind that even if you fall above that standard, you're going to have to pull it up to a 2.0 by the end of your first year. So you're going to have to work fairly hard to improve it. You can't stay at the same place. So a 1.8 is good enough to go to the second semester, but it won't take you to the second year. You have to keep pulling it up till you get up to being in good standing, ultimately. So keep those policies in mind. So you have a sense. I just want to have you to have a sense of what the consequences might be depending on where your grade falls. I don't want to just scare you, but I do want you to have full information about how those policies work, so you can be aware of them, and also have an opportunity to seek help here, so you really understand what the stakes are, and you can take advantage of help at this early stage before we're nearing the end of the semester. Thanks.